Hello Stampers, it's Debbie with Stamp It with Debbie, and we're live. It's Wednesday and we're ready for Facebook Live, where I'm going to show you how to create these 3 fun cards using a stamp set that maybe you overlooked in the catalog this year. So give me just a minute. If you're joining me, go ahead and leave me a comment. Let me know where you're joining me from, or leave me a little emoji or something to let me know you're here. I hope that your day is going well. I'm trying out this new time, so hopefully this works out for people, and if not, you can always catch the replay. That works just fine too. So again, today I'm going to show you how to create these 3 projects using Hoot Hoot Hooray. And have you seen this stamp set yet? It's actually not in the annual catalog. It is in a little catalog. It's a beginner catalog, and so it kind of just gives some different stamp sets in there for people so they don't feel so overwhelmed if they're new to stamping. And I know sometimes it's real hard when you look at the catalog and it's 200 and some pages trying to figure out exactly what you need. So this is one of the stamp sets that Stampin' Up came up with to kind of make it a little baby steps into stamping so that you don't feel so overwhelmed. And I think this is a very, very fun stamp set. And I'll show you how to do these, and I will have some more projects later in the week for you. So if you're joining me, if you would click the like button below, and if you're following me on YouTube, go ahead and click subscribe so that you never miss any of my videos. So let's go ahead and get started creating these 3 cards. Today I tried to get back to a little bit of the simple stamping. I know sometimes people feel a little overwhelmed by, oh, I don't have that stamp, I don't have that punch. So I tried to just keep it a little more simple today on the first ones, and then I did step it up as we went, just so you could see different things that you could do with this set. Now keep in mind, I use the flower image here, but you could trade that out for any of these images. So we're going to, let me gather my supplies here, and I'll let you know what we need. So I'm using pineapple punch as a base, and this one is cut. I did the long way, so it's 4 1/4 by 11, and then I scored it at 5 1/2. I have a piece of Whisper White that's 4 by 5 1/4. This is from the stitched framelits, and this is the middle size circle, so that's that. And then this is the 6 by 6 designer paper, and this is cut at 3/4 of an inch by 3 3/4. Now we can go ahead and just put this white right on the front of the card, because we're not doing any stamping on that at all. I'm just going to center it, leaving a nice border all the way around. And then I can go ahead and put my piece of designer paper. I don't want it quite in the middle. I kind of brought mine down just a little bit. And again, I'm going to leave a border, an even border on both sides. Now this is the piece we're going to stamp on. This one says, "You made my day." So I'm going to ink that up with Memento ink, because I'm using the blender pens. So that's what I need to use, is the Memento ink. And let me grab a little piece of scrap paper here, because sometimes the blends do bleed through a little bit. And I'm going to color the petals of the flower in light pineapple punch. And if you haven't used the blends yet, they're wonderful. They don't leave any lines. You can blend with them. If you've heard of Copic markers, they're very similar to Copic markers. A little less expensive. Like I said, you can blend different colors a lighter and a darker color together. This here is light lovely lipstick. The biggest thing that I like about them is they don't leave any lines like a regular marker might, or crayons. I like the neat look of no lines. This color here is dark granny apple green. This is one of my favorite green colors. And so that's it for coloring. Now I am going to pop that up using a couple dimensionals. Put my scrap paper aside here. Now typically very simple stamping would be one layer, and of course I have this circle. So if you don't have the circle, don't worry. You could use a square on top of this. You could actually just stamp right onto the card too, and it would look just as good. So I'm going to kind of put that off to the right a little. Now, again, in keeping with the simple stamping, I'm going to, on this one I did not add any rhinestones or anything, but I want to show you if you wanted to step it up a little bit, you could add a little bling by adding a couple rhinestones. But you can see that the one on the left, we didn't add any rhinestones and it looks just as cute. If you wanted to step this card up, you could put a little bit of ribbon along this edge here, like wrap it around and tie a knot or a bow up there. And that would be one way of stepping it up. Or as I said, if you don't have the circle, you can just stamp right on this white layer and maybe put this piece of designer paper off to the side. So you don't always have to have a lot of different things to stamp with. Just know how to lay it out and feel comfortable with how you're putting it on the paper and mail it out to somebody. It doesn't have to be perfect to be a handmade card, because people enjoy just getting a card in the mail. Okay, this is card number 2, and while I get my supplies for card number 2, I just want to remind you that if you place an order of $30 or more, I'm going to send you the pieces to make these cards yourself. So you do need to have the stamp set or a similar stamp set to make them exactly. So again, I just want to remind anyone who is just joining us, this is Hoot Hoot Hooray. You will not find it in the annual catalog. This stamp set is in a small beginner brochure, but it is available through the online store, and it's item 149352, and I'll leave a little note in the description below in the video. So again, it's just something that Stampin' Up came up with for people so that if they're a beginner stamper or even if they're an advanced stamper, it's just something that you can stamp, get the work done, and you don't feel overwhelmed by all of the products in the huge annual catalog, because there are 200 and some pages in there. Okay, so for this one, sorry, I forgot to say, if you place the order, you must use this host code at checkout in order for me to send you the free gift. So just keep that in mind. And I'll bring that back in just a minute. So this one I made in Melon Mambo. I decided to go ahead and change it up just a little bit, and I'm going to reverse it. So this one I'm going to use Bermuda Bay for the card base. And this is 5.5 by 8.5. We're just going to fold that right in half. Let me get my bone folder. And then once again, I used the designer 6x6 stacks that come in each of the colors. And I'm going to go ahead and put this one on. The other one I did it a little bit different, and I'll show you. I kind of changed my mind up just a little bit. So I'm going to put this one down. This one is cut, this piece is at 4 by 5.25. And again, this is Bermuda Bay. And on this one, you can see I wrapped the ribbon all the way here. The one that we're doing today, I'm just going to wrap around this piece of cardstock. Now, this piece, I do need to look really quick because the name of the embossing folder has escaped me. It's one of our brand new ones. And it's a really fun one because it looks like lace, but it also looks like bubbles to me. So I have used it in some of the, like in the walrus stamp set or anything that I want a little bubbly look to. It's called Eyelet Lace, and it's on page 199 in the annual catalog. So I did already run this through the embossing folder. This is cut at 2 1/4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And before I attach that, I am going to use some of my Whisper White polka dot tulle ribbon. You can see how pretty it is. I'm just going to tie a little bow. Grab my scissors. Right on this piece here. And this ribbon, you have to be careful. You don't want to pull it too tightly like you would some regular ribbon because it does stretch. So just kind of gently. And then I do need to cut to make those ends pretty. And then this piece I can go ahead and attach right onto my card now. I'm going to make sure and put some adhesive down here at this end where the ribbon is so that the ribbon doesn't go anywhere. Whoops. And it's already trying to run away there. I think I'm going to just put a little right over it. And then this piece can go right in the center of our card. Okay, so now it's time to do some coloring. Let me get my stamp and my ink. This time I'm using the 2 cupcakes and the happy birthday. And I'm just going to stamp that right in the middle of my die here. And these are the stitch nested labels, and I did already cut this one out. There's I forget how many come in the package. 9 different sizes of this label, and it's great because you can use it full strength or like full width, or you can cut it in half and kind of have it come off the side, or have it come, it's probably easier this way, you know, use it this way and cut a little bit off. So it's a real versatile die cut to have. So I need my piece of scrap paper back, and we're going to do a little bit of coloring. And I am using Lovely Lipstick, Purple Posy, Bermuda Bay, and Pool Party for this one. And so this is light Pool Party that I'm going to color the banner in. And again, this is the Stampin' Blends markers. I think I forgot to say that. And I just wanted the banner to be a light color. And then I think I'm going to also use crumb cake for this little piece right here. This little post, or I don't know what you would call that. And then I'm coloring the top of the cupcakes Purple Posy, light Purple Posy. And then the little sprinkles on top, I decided I wanted to do pink to match the card. So this is, it's actually Lovely Lipstick, light Lovely Lipstick, but it matches the Melon Mambo pretty well. And then for the cupcake liner, I'm just going to use the light Bermuda Bay to pull that color in a little bit. And then we're all done coloring this piece. leave me a comment below. Do you enjoy coloring, or is it something that you don't like to do? Would you rather see projects that don't have any coloring at all, just the stamping? I actually really like coloring. It's relaxing to me, and I like coloring with crayons. I like coloring with the watercolor pencils, but the Stampin' Blends markers are just happen to be one of my favorites to color with. Okay, so we're just going to kind of offset this just a little bit. There we go. And so you can see 2 different colors. They both look great. And who wouldn't love to get that for their birthday? And you can see this one I did the ribbon just on this little piece. This one I did it this way, and I actually think I like it just on this smaller piece a little bit better. It lets you see more of the plaid designer paper there. Okay, I'm going to bring the host code back, and I'll show you the next project. And if you would just give me a minute. Here we go. This is the next project. Let me get the supplies for this card. So this one was maybe one of my favorite. I really liked the owl in there. And he says, Hoot Hoot Hooray. And again, I'm going to show you the stamp set one more time. There is enough room, even on this happy birthday, to be able to cut the happy birthday. So you could do the flowers and stamp the happy birthday under it. And I'm going to show you on the owl how we're going to stamp the owl without the words and still be able to go back and stamp the other part in just a minute. So let me set that aside. What you need for this, I'm using Highland Heather, 8.5 by 5.5. I have a piece of Whisper White cut at 4 by 5 1/4. Another piece of the Plaid Designer 6 by 6 stacks, and that is in Highland Heather as well. And that is cut at 4 by 2 3/4. I did cut out this tree branch from Seasonal Layer Thinlits, and there's lots of great dies in there. There are leaves in there, flowers in there, an Adirondack chair, a scalloped edge, lots of different things. So check it out. Again, the Seasonal Layer Thinlits dies. So that's what I'm going to be using here. And then I'm also going to be using this leaf punch and a scrap of Granny Apple Green and a scrap of white to just do some stamping on. So we can go ahead and fold our card base in half. And then I'm going to attach this piece at the bottom here. And there is not a border on here. This matches the white cardstock behind it perfectly. So you're not going to leave a border on this. It's going to match perfectly. So now I kind of want to, I'm going to grab my owl stamp and my ink. I want to kind of eyeball and see where do I want this tree branch to be and where do I want my owl to be. So there's a couple ways, because as you can see, I don't have the words under the owl like are in the stamp set. So what I typically do, you can put a piece of washi tape on here and then ink it up, and I can show you how to do that real quickly. I think I have some washi tape. Or you can carefully dab your ink pad over the stamp set, and if you got a little bit of ink, so what I'm saying is there's a couple ways to do it. You can just carefully do this and then be very careful not to get, I'm going to turn this sideways so you can see, I'm not getting it on the words at all down there. But if you feel like you can't do that, or if you accidentally get this, just take a little Q-tip and wipe it off. Or, as I said, you can put a piece of washi tape right over the words, stamp up your image, and then do not forget to take this piece of washi tape off, or you're going to have a big old blob on your project. And so again, I'm going to kind of eyeball where do I want my owl to be sitting on this branch. And I'm not going to get it on there perfectly, and I'll have to adjust the branch a little bit because I can't stamp with the branch in place. Okay, so now I'm going to look at my branch, and I'm going to do this before I adhere it down to the card base. So I'm going to kind of look at my branch. How do I want it to be on there? Well, I don't like how this piece of the branch is in the way, so I'm actually going to take my paper snips and just cut it back a little bit. And I think that looks really good. So now you can see it runs over the edge a little bit here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take my Tombow liquid adhesive, and I'm going to put a light layer along the back, not getting too close to that edge because I could see I had a little bit that I needed, oops, to cut off there. That was not good. And I'm just going to go ahead and attach that. And the reason that we didn't want to put this on the card first is because we need to cut off that little piece of that branch that's hanging over, and it's much easier to do when it's not attached. Now the other thing is I want to go ahead and color my owl before I attach it to my card, just in case it leaks through it all. So for the owl's beak, I'm using pumpkin pie. And for the other part of the owl, I'm going to use light Highland Heather. I thought he looked really good in purple. I could have done him in a brown if that's what I chose, because he would match the branch. And that would be perfectly fine too. While I'm coloring, I'll just want to take a minute to remind everybody, if you're watching today, if you would just leave me a comment and hit the like button, or leave me an emoji. That lets Facebook know that you're watching. I really appreciate it. If you're watching on the replay, you can do the same, because Facebook still can see that you're watching, and then it'll keep showing other people the video. I definitely appreciate it. If you're watching through YouTube, if you would hit the subscribe button, I would appreciate that, so that you will never miss a video and you can craft right along with me. So there's our owl all colored in. And we can go ahead and take this piece now and attach it to the front of our card. And again, just leave a nice border all the way around. Now the next thing we need to do is work on the words and the leaves. So we did have a little scrap, and I'm going to ink up my owl again, just mostly the words. If the other part is inked as well, that's okay. And now you can see I have the Hoot Hoot Hooray, and I'm just going to take my paper snips and cut that right out. And you can see it's far enough away from the owl's feet so that it's not going to get in the way at all of cutting it out. And then I separated all three of these words just so that I could separate it on the card a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to use a little bit of my Tombow multi-purpose adhesive and just put them where I see best. And I kind of like them a little bit at an angle. Okay, then the next thing that we need to do is punch our leaves from the leaf punch. And I'm just going to punch 3 of these. And for these over here, I actually just took my paper snips and cut the leaves right off of the branch. Or off of the stem of the leaf, I should say. And it doesn't matter if they're perfect because they're going to overlap each other. So you'll only see just a little bit of it anyways. And then for the one down here, you can just cut the stem off. And then again, some of your Tombow multi-purpose adhesive. And you can decide where you want those leaves to stick out. You could put them all on individually. I bunched mine up because I thought I liked the look of that. But if you wanted to just put individual leaves on the branch, that would be fine too. We could put one over here. Now, you probably have already guessed, the first daisy card was kind of my very simple stamping. I stepped it up a little bit with the one in the middle, and this one is kind of a little crazy because you can see we had to do some coloring, we had to do some separating of these pieces, and I'm going to show you one more thing that we do need to stamp and cut out and punch. But again, if you don't have all of these things, all of these products, just make do with what you have. Don't let it hold you back from making a beautiful card to send to somebody in the mail, because everyone loves a card in the mail. You might have seen that my grandma celebrated her birthday recently, and she ended up, last I heard, she got 106 birthday cards, and she was so happy to get all of those cards. Now, how I did this happy birthday is I actually just stamped on a piece of scrap white paper this happy birthday with the cupcakes, and then I fussy cut it out. I'm kind of a rhyming person, and when I looked at this set, I was like, oh my gosh, this hooray rhymes with a lot of things. So hoot hoot hooray, happy birthday, and then hoot hoot hooray, and I decided I would do this one, you made my day. So I stamped the you made my day, or the flower with you made my day. I could have just stamped the flower part, or the word part too, but I'm going to cut that out. And now I have this piece. Now I could put another piece of paper under there or something else, a little banner or something. I'm just going to leave this one plain. I'm looking for some mini dimensionals because this piece is pretty small. And I'm just going to put a couple dimensionals on the back here. Peeling the backing off. When you cut these dimensionals in half, it's really hard to get the backing off. Okay, so I have those on, but before I adhere them, I need to kind of multitask. I need to put a little adhesive on these leaves that go right here behind it. So I'm going to kind of eyeball that and eyeball this. And hopefully I got it all straight, and there we go. So this is a birthday card. This is just saying you did a great thing. Thank you so much. So I appreciate you watching today. Please let me know which one of these is your favorite projects. Do you like the very simple stamping? Do you like to step it up a little bit? I'll put both of these out since we created those in 2 different colors. Don't forget to visit my online store at stampitwithdebbie.stampinup.net. And if you're watching me through YouTube, you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/stampitwithdebbie. Don't forget to use the host code when you place an order of $30 or more, and I will send you the free gift of the make and take kits for this week. Thank you so much for stopping by today. I really appreciate you taking time to be with me this Wednesday and accommodating me on the time change. And we'll see you over on Facebook with some more creative ideas. Have a wonderful day.